Friday, we saw the largest single day pullback of metals in over 45 years. This weekend, we had files released, secret files that I can't say, we'll just say dirty E, files released showing behind the scenes what was happening with companies like Ripple and Stellar back as far as 2014, 2013, and how things could have been impacted moving forward from that time. Was the SEC case a ploy all the time? Was Ripple a white hat conspiracy from the beginning? A lot of this information is playing out right now on X, and you're going to see a lot of information come out on X, on YouTube. Most of this is going to be speculation. Most of it is going to be unproven. But one thing is fact. A lot was happening behind the scenes and a lot was being played with. There was not a fair shake for a lot of the crypto companies, Ripple being one of them. I feel confident in saying that. But market is opening now and we get to see what is going to play out, how things are going to play out after the liquidation event in metals on Friday. Market is opening now, and typically in the first 15 minutes, we'll get a really good idea of what the market is going to do. I see people coming into the chat. Make sure you sign off in the chat. The chat is the lifeblood of the stream. And I'm looking at the 15-minute candle on XRP right now to see what it's going to do in its first 15 minutes with the markets now opening. Because again, the first 15 minutes, you typically get a fake manipulation candle. It usually is going to tell you something and then it does the opposite. So right now, as markets open, we're seeing a slight increase so far in XRP, but really, truthfully, everything is going to be following Bitcoin. So we can put Bitcoin up here on the 15-minute candle and see how it reacts to the first 15 minutes of open. But again, this channel is here for the long view. Okay, we're about what the price is going to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Yes, it sucks when everything is bleeding right now. A lot of people lost a lot of money on Friday and going into the weekend, but that creates excellent buying opportunities. That's what I have planned on doing today. I put in buy orders on Ondo, XRP, HBAR, and Chainlink, as well as I picked up some more Canton Network last night. I do have my Canton coin on Caleb and Brown, as well as a couple others on Caleb and Brown. And I see you guys signing off in the chat here. Yeah, Bitcoin got down as low as 74,500 over the weekend. What is this going to do for strategy, right? What is this going to do for MicroStrategy? Could there be a potential decoupling from Bitcoin with the other utility tokens? We are already looking at one decoupling of one of the cryptos we follow. If you're new to the channel, my 5 core crypto plays are XRP, Canton Network, HBAR, Ondo, and Chainlink. And one of these certainly seems like it does not move with Bitcoin, and that is Canton Network. Now, I understand that right now prices are a bit muted considering everything that's been going on since Friday. But that being said, we can certainly see that there is no direct correlation between the movement of Canton Network and the movement of Bitcoin. Honestly, there's not really any kind of direct correlation between it and the rest of the stock market. That's why we notice over the last month, the rest of the market can be doing whatever it wants, and Canton Network has still been increasing for the entire, well, this is just for the month of February, but Canton Network's one of the very few that's up since the beginning of January. Why is that? Well, I have some information. Let's go and take a look here. I saw this video on Canton Network. I wanted to play for you guys. You guys know I love Canton Network. Don't worry, we got XRP news coming next. But real quick, a little bit on Canton Network if you guys are unfamiliar. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what they have to say about how it's actually working.
Oh man, this is wonky, but I think it's worth kind of being out on the record about, which is that we took also one of many very unpopular in the crypto space decisions was to go with something called a burn mint equilibrium for the tokenomics, and just means that 100% of the fees of the network are burned, and fees are fixed in dollars, and you burn a different amount of coin based on the current conversion rate of the coin to dollars. But what can happen is if the market undervalues your coin relative to the amount of fees in the network, you can go into these deflationary states, and it can happen temporarily, but it obviously can't happen permanently, or you would completely run out of coins. And with all the activity in the network today and the rapid growth of activity in the network, that we're projecting, throughout the course of the quarter, we're consistently seeing that, we're flirting with the idea of being deflationary within some of the reward buckets, and sometimes looking at potentially being deflationary overall. And I think that what that tells me is that the market still doesn't understand how much stuff is going on in this ecosystem. We're not getting the 1000x multiples on fees that other ecosystems are getting. We're getting something very, very close to no forward multiple on what's going on in the ecosystem based on just kind of the way that the burn's working. And I don't think people understand these dynamics well enough. And there could be scenarios where we get into these markets where we have sideways to downward price action as a macro, and Canton can continue to just burn through it, and we could be anti-correlated with the macro malaise, because as we continue to drive more and more utility into the ecosystem, that generates more and more burn, and the market can ignore it for so long, but we can't be deflationary forever. And again, we're not deflating more and more utility.
Okay, he goes on to repeat himself, but the point is utility is burning Canton Network to the point where it is deflationary. Again, if you are unfamiliar with the tokenomics and how Canton Network actually works, I do have a full explainer video on my channel. I suggest all of you go check it out. But Ripple news. Ripple scores a full EU money license. This is the Luxembourg license that we talked about, the EMI license. It's now fully official, right? Before it was conditional, now it's official. So when you see this announcement, it's just making the previous announcement official. But they do have their EMI license in Luxembourg now. That is officially done, so they can operate within the entire scope of the EU. Remember, that plugs them into the entire EU. They've already got their approval with the UK. They're getting their approval from Japan in Q2. It looks like they already have approval from the MAS. They've got their conditional bank charter in the US. They also have ties in Africa and South America. So they are on every single continent ready to go. We've been following what's actually happening with the XRP ledger, at least I have, ad nauseum, talking about account set activity and that translating to payment activity, because the account set activity has been higher over the last 3 months than the entire history of the ledger combined 10 over. You can look at this bottom bar here. This is the entire history of the ledger as far as account set activity. And you can see here in the last few months, it's definitely by far more. We've been wanting to see this translate into payments activity. I've said I wanted to see it run up and maintain. Well, what do we see here, ladies and gentlemen? We are seeing spikes in payments activity, and not only spikes in payments activity is continuing to rise and maintain. Yesterday, or not yesterday, day before yesterday, 1.6 million, then 1.8 million, yesterday 1.6 million. We have not seen this level of payments activity in over a year consistently. The last time we got up anywhere close to this high was back in March of 2025. We had 1.9 million. So this is the highest spike since March of last year. This is not nothing. This is payments activity and utility. What did we just hear about the Canton Network, right? Utility, utility, utility. The more payments, the more it gets used, the more it can burn through what's happening with the chop and the day-to-day prices of what's going on in the market. This is how a potential decoupling could happen. Not saying it's going to happen, not saying this is a decoupling moment, not trying to predict price or anything like that. But we are seeing real utility come on in certain networks, and we're seeing it push through the sideways action, not with XRP, but with Canton Network, due to the utility. And we are seeing the utility start to rise on the XRPL. Could this mean appreciation in the future? Well, we're seeing gold and silver doing all kinds of crazy things. We said we were going to cover what's going on. Well, in the first 15 minutes, we have had a run up so far. Again, man. I kind of want to short it. Not going to lie. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, this is a manipulation candle. 15 minutes, it's running straight up at the open. It makes me want to short it. I think it's going to reverse, but that's just me. I could be very wrong. But when I see a market take off like this, and again, important distinction, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. You need to do your own research. Investing in crypto and securities comes with the risk of loss. You can lose everything. As a lot of people have learned over this weekend, you can certainly lose a lot of money in this space. That being said, I'm just letting you know what I see, what I think, and what my opinions are. So when I'm looking at the first 15 minutes of the market, typically it goes the other way. Let me tell you what I'm looking at here. So it has run up all the way to 78,000. RSI is overbought, just about. It's ready to start cooling. And again, in the first 15 minutes, we typically get a manipulation candle of some sorts. So we're currently at 10 minutes into open. I'm going to see how this does after the next 15 minutes. Let's take a look at XRP, see what XRP is doing. And don't worry, I have more and more news and more information for you guys. So XRP is at $1.63. It again pushed up to 165 and bounced off of it. 165 is acting as resistance. So until we clear this level, nothing means nothing. It could bounce off this and go straight back down. And honestly, even though price is going up right now, it's not a ton of volume compared to what was going on over here earlier, which is concerning. We'll see what happens over the next 10 minutes as far as price goes. But I have entries in for XRP. Does it show it here? Let's see. Yeah, I have a order for XRP at $1.50. I have orders in for Ondo, Chainlink, and HBAR. And I also picked up some Canton Network yesterday as well. Let me see if I can just pull this over here for you guys, if it'll pull up. There it goes. See if it'll pull up for you guys to view that. There it goes. So yeah, I just picked up some Canton Network. This is what Caleb and Brown looks like. I haven't moved it out of my wallet yet because I literally just did it. But this is what the trading profile looks like on Caleb and Brown. There is, by the way, official announcement. I am a Caleb and Brown partner now. I do have a link in the description. They are a brokerage. They charge a flat fee, and you can access them anywhere. And they have access to over 250 tokens. It's more of a white glove service, but they do provide free institutional custody. You don't have to worry about slippage. You know what? I have a promotional video here. Let me just do that. You guys can watch this. It explains everything for you. Here you go.
In crypto, speed matters, but trust matters more. At Caleb and Brown, you're never on your own. We connect you with your own personal broker and a 24/7 team, ready to help you buy, sell, or swap over 250 digital assets with one flat, transparent fee. No spreads, no slippage, no hidden costs. Get the best market prices through deep, aggregated liquidity executed by our professional trading desk. Your funds are secured with institutional-grade cold storage for total peace of mind. Track every move in real time with our intuitive client portal. Anywhere, anytime. Whether you're trading as an individual, trust, or business, we give you speed, security, and peace of mind. Thousands of clients in over 100 countries already trust Caleb and Brown. Visit calebandbrown.com and start your personalized crypto journey today.
My bad, guys. I'm sorry. I forgot to unmute my mic when I got done with that. I apologize. Okay, my fault. I appreciate you letting me know. Okay, so the thing with Caleb and Brown is the institutional custody. That's why I like it. The biggest complaint with them for me is that it's difficult to onboard like a fiat bank account. But if you're transferring crypto, it's extremely, extremely simple. I just moved over USDC for my purchases because I have access to USDC. And it's like it took 5 minutes to get that transfer to go through. And the big thing is, I like the fact that there's no onboarding and offboarding fees, right? You can pull as much money as you want out and deposit as much as you want without fees and without limits. Whereas if you try to pull $500,000 off of an exchange, it's not going to go well for you. These people are their own team. They source their own liquidity. You don't have to worry about those issues. And again, you get your own personalized broker, no slippage. It's very white glove. There's a 3.5% fee. You tell them what you want to do and they execute it for you. Again, it's not going to be for everyone, but for those of you who maybe don't want to mess with an exchange and moving things around wallets, it's a very easy way to access and very safe way to access crypto for you. Again, they also have over 250 tokens and they run on the XRP ledger, which you know I love, right? And again, sorry for the audio issue, but let's hop back into what's actually happening here with the price. So again, the first 15 minutes is now over, and now we get to see what's actually happened. As you saw, we had a run up, and now it's back on its way down. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. I'm worried about Bitcoin with MicroStrategy or with strategy, whatever you want to call it. I still call it MicroStrategy. And, but with Bitcoin, so we ran up all the way up to 78,000 in this first 15 minute and it immediately reversed. I'm going to see it come all the way back down and it'll probably test EMA 9 again and see what it's really going to do. Silver and gold, again, chopping. They fell down to 81. It did recover up to 85 after Friday's crash, but it's fell back down to 81. I think the world is trying to figure out what it's going to do, but we are still under EMA 9 on silver. So is it just going to chop today or are we going to have a move? That is the question. For the day, crypto is overall up again in the first 15 minutes. We have to see how this leg is going to shake out beyond that. So as far as security goes with your crypto, I also do have a cold storage wallet option for you in there as well. That is straight to the manufacturer. Again, do your own research. You can use whatever wallet you want. You can use whatever custody service you want. But I told you guys I would provide options that I use and I feel comfortable with, and I have those links for you in the description. Let's hop into the chat and see what everyone has to say in the chat today. Anyone else get any buy orders in this weekend? Anyone else do some shopping, right? We had a red light special. Sir Charles, first one in the house today. Raul says, good morning. Sir Charles says, Bitcoin got down to 74,500 last night. Yes, it did. I was watching. I was up till about 11 o'clock last night, keeping an eye on things and messing around my computer, setting some stuff up. Alpha says, good morning. Time to pump. I hope you're right, but after it hits my buy orders. I have buy orders in. I want it to pump after the buy orders. Selfishly, not financial advice. Hello to Raul, says Sir Charles. We hope that it's about to pump, Raul says. Jen Zach says Coinbase needs to offer Canton. I think it'll get there eventually, but right now, if you guys want to access it, again, not financial advice. Let me pull up Canton Network here. You have access to Canton Network on MEXC, Weeks, Bybit, KuCoin, Gate, Bitmart, Kraken, Uphold. I know it's on Uphold. I just looked at that the other day, as well as Caleb and Brown. Many ways to get it. For me, the easiest way was just to transfer some USDC over to Caleb and Brown and pick it up that way. Race Fan says, what is this? Way too early. I haven't scrubbed my tires. Well, I did say over the weekend, starting Saturday, and I also did a couple of videos. I was going to be streaming at 8:30 in the morning this morning because I wanted to cover what was happening with the market open after the metals crash on Friday, because I think things are going to play out this morning. I thought we were going to see some theater, and it hasn't. I mean, we're still early, obviously. We're only 20 minutes into the open, but we're going to see how it plays out. We've got the first 15 minutes done, so now we get to see what's really going to happen. Warsh was nominated one day before the files were released, and his name is in them. Well, there's going to be a lot of names in the files. I mean, when it comes to big money, you have good money and bad money. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of evil people out there, and there's certain words I can't say or they'll throttle the discovery of the channel, unfortunately. But there's going to be good names and bad names in those files. I mean, Ripple's mentioned in the files too, but not for a bad reason. What's Canton's max token supply? All I see is an infinity symbol. There is no max token supply for Canton Network. Every time Canton tokens are burned, more are minted. So it operates in deflationary scenarios or inflationary scenarios, depending on what's happening as far as what's coming on ledger, what it's being used for. It's not designed to be deflationary, but what they were talking about is because of the use case of what's going on, there's several pockets that have become deflationary, and that's why you can see Canton Network improve while the rest of the market is tanking because it's utility based, right? Utility. I'm all about utility. It is not a deflationary asset, but it is doing some serious work. Racefan says, I've been using Caleb and Brown for some time now. I've set up with password codes, and I will be asked verbally before they will release money or tokens. Yeah, it's very secure. Absolutely. There's, two-step verification. Your broker will contact you directly, especially if there's any kind of large move. If you have any kind of issues, there's people you can actually talk to. I enjoy it. For my larger investments, I like it. If I'm just picking up a $20 here, $30 here, $100 there, it's not for you. It's for larger purchases. Again, it's not a tool for everyone. I'm trying to present tools that work for everybody. Yeah, I know, and I messed up the audio. Thank you guys for telling me. I appreciate that. Let me get that fixed. Get to the point. There we go. Are we watching the old guard get exposed while the new financial system gets stress tested? We very, very well could, right? We hope so. Again, I've always said that I didn't believe that the Jake Claver predictions were correct, but I would happily be wrong. Okay, so we've been talking about crypto. I haven't talked about this because it's not really crypto related per se, but I'm really, really concerned about public credit and AI, or private credit and AI, because when we look at what's happening with OpenAI, when we look at what's happening with NVIDIA, when we look at what's happening with CoreWeave and how much money and debt is being pumped into these stocks, it's becoming this perpetual cycle of money, right? Debt gets pushed in, goes here, goes here, goes here, and they just keep circling it around. But eventually, the debt is going to run out. And we're going to see a pullback in AI. Well, our entire stock market right now is propped up on AI. And if we start seeing a creak and crack in public credit like we have, remember, one bank just got resolved on Friday during this metals crash. So I am concerned about an AI bubble pop, which would have serious damage impact, implications to the rest of the entire market. We also see China picking up a lot of gold and silver while getting rid of U.S. treasuries. Something is changing. That's why we watch every day. We watch what's going on in the markets every day. We keep up with the news so we can position ourselves in the best spot moving forward. But there's some stuff happening right now. I mean, I'm not exactly sure which way it's going to shift, but that's why we watch it. We are watching it play out in real time right now. There is some kind of changing of the guard happening right now. We don't know what it is. We don't know what's causing it. We don't know exactly where it's going, but that's why we've paid attention to the infrastructure, paid attention to see what is getting laid out so we can try to position ourselves in the best possible position for the next 5 to 10 years. You call it Bitcoin, I call it Bitcoin. Bitcoin can go to zero. I agree. I've always talked about a volume bubble in Bitcoin. However, during this pullback, I see 68,000, then maybe 55,000 for Bitcoin. And if that happens, that could hit us to our my prediction of a potential low of $1.20-ish for XRP. Why is Grayscale doing massive dumps? Last week, it had a recorded 75 million inflow ETF day only be canceled out by Grayscale. Same thing happened a couple of weeks ago, too. Well, remember how everything dumped on Friday with XRP and everything? Grayscale actually dumped half of their ETF bag, right? Half of their ETF trust the day before that. It makes me raise an eyebrow, man. Like, I don't trust these big wig companies, especially when Grayscale dumps half of their ETF trust before a crash. Especially when we see WillFi go down 20% before the crash. Got to pay attention. Again, not financial advice, speculation, but these are the dots I am looking at. As a dollar cost average holder, a long-term holder, and consistent accumulator, this is an opportunity, not FUD. Drive on. I absolutely agree. I have my buy orders in to pick up more on the way down. Do you think we will hit all-time high again this year, or is CC right by saying this bull run is over? I don't want to say that the bull run's over. We don't necessarily have to discuss that. I mean, we hit an all-time high and now we've pulled all the way back down to the $50s at this point. I think it's safe to say that a bull run is over. Again, what a lot of people were predicting as far as the speculative theories and theses of XRP, that it would take something like this, like some kind of crash. Now, this isn't a market crash, it was a pullback, but literally trillions of dollars were liquidated on Friday in metals. That has ripple effects, pun intended, that goes throughout the rest of the market. And we have to see how it shakes out. We have a new Fed chair coming in that a lot of people are hawkish about. Japan's hiking rates. We're not cutting rates even though inflation's going down. It's a mess right now. Everything going on in Minnesota. Now we have Republicans forming, pacts to try and go against Trump. Clarity Act's been stalled again and again and again. And then we have the dirty e-files coming out saying it's just misdirection and noise everywhere. So it makes it really difficult to see the forest through the trees. That's why I talk about dollar cost averaging in, just like you guys were talking about here. There's no way to predict a top and a bottom. We're here for the long view. Do I think we'll hit an all-time high again this year? I do think we'll hit an all-time high again this year because utility. And just like we were talking about with Canton Network, if you're going to fall under, if you're going to go with what they were saying about the Canton Network, that is the bull run over, like they were saying on Canton Network, if that's the case, then we're focusing on utility, right? Because Canton Network's argument is it can push through a bear market because of its utility. Well, when we're talking about XRP, payments increasing, right? Payment status increasing. Account set activity maintained and even increasing a little bit. All right, so we're seeing real utility increase on the XRP ledger. We want to see this continue to push above 2 million and maintain it. But if we're going to go with the same concept that Canton Network, is pushing through with utility and the bull runs over, then if that's the case, utility is ramping up for the XRP ledger, which is a good sign for us as well. Again, that's why we're about the long view. Know what you hold, accumulate when you can. Again, not financial advice, but know what you hold, accumulate when we can, and understand this is a play for the next 5 to 10 years. Bull markets end in euphoria. We never got there. Well, we kind of did. We got to all-time highs back in June, July. So, that was kind of euphoria. All-time highs are euphoria. Now, a lot of people were expecting it to go further because of a lot of the narratives that were written over the last couple of years. But ultimately, gold, silver, stock market, our entire stock market is doing well. Again, I think that's propped up on debt in the AI sector, and we're not seeing it flow into crypto and risk assets because the world has a lot of geopolitical risk right now. People aren't doing risk on assets. China's talking about wanting to become the world currency, and they've been buying gold left and right. Or are they trying to do a gold back yuan on network? Talking about their CBDC. There's so much information that's going to be going on over the next 2 months. And the best thing I would say, zoom out, look at it from a 30,000 foot lens, try to quiet the noise, and build for the long view, right? Look at what real news is, not what speculation is or people's theories or opinions. And that's why I'm the first one to tell you, do your own research. $1.20 only means I'm getting more. Exactly. I have my buy order in at 140. If it hits that, I'll put a buy order in at $1.20. I wonder how much of this is just coordinated theater. We don't know. I know, I can't say I know, but I'm pretty damn sure a lot of it is coordinated theater. For this level of, a 35% pullback in silver, like, it should not be moving like a meme coin. If we pull up silver, now, what do we say about the first 15 minutes? Always a manipulation. So silver's back down to $78 now. And if we look at silver, if we zoom out, right? Remember, we always want to zoom out and look at things. Silver should not have had an 80% run over the course of 3 weeks. Silver should not be trading like a freaking meme coin, okay? Of course, it's going to have a massive correction. It got down as low as $71 and then popped all the way back up to 85, and now it's back down to 78. Let's see what gold is doing. Gold's back down to 47. It got as low as 43, and it's dropping again. So what's happening with XRP and Bitcoin then if those are dropping? Is the manipulation candle over? Are we starting to see the real move? So on the 15-minute candle with Bitcoin, we had that large push up on the first candle, and now, see, right? First 15-minute candle went up, and now boom, boom, on its way down. I think we're looking at a fall. I'm glad I didn't sell my put yet. I told you when the market opened, when I saw it start going up, I'm like, I think I should short this. So we're back under EMA 9, and it is falling fast. I have a feeling this is what I was afraid of, ladies and gentlemen. So we had the manipulation candle for everyone to get their liquidity in, and now we're going to start seeing it fall. We'll keep an eye on it as we go through the chat. But again, Friday, I told you guys I was really, really worried because that move didn't finish. It kind of paused with the markets closing, and we weren't going to see how the dust actually settled until Monday, Tuesday. And honestly, we're probably going to find out here within the next 30 minutes to an hour what we're looking like today. Now, let's get back into the chat, though, talk to everybody here. I appreciate everyone for taking your time to be here on a Monday morning. I know it doesn't feel good when number goes down. It hurts. We don't want to see our investments drop in price. But again, as part of the long view, it's a buying opportunity. Because I'm here for what it's going to be 10 years from now, not what it's going to be today. So when I see an opportunity to buy at prices like this, especially when I have a little capital finally, I'm excited. That's just me. Clear manipulation going on. Hopefully we will get Clarity Act soon that will stop this. Again, Clarity Act, I think if we're lucky before midterms, and we better get it before that with all the drama that's happening in DC right now. Jen Zach says, so if I understand this right, Canton is going on XRPL. Will XRP be burned when Canton uses the ledger? Again, XRP is only burned if XRP is used in a transaction. So if they're using XRP to bridge things, then yes, XRP would be burned. But if they're just offloading like RLUSD, if they're just using the XRPL to offload via stablecoins, and there's no switching of an asset going on, then XRP won't be burned, right? It has to perform as a bridge in order for the XRP to be burned. Now, again, 0.002 XRP is burned with every single transaction that takes place on the XRPL, but that's so minuscule, it's not going to really affect anything. But I will say I do love operating on the XRPL as a retail user because I got my USDC. I literally uploaded my money, got my USDC for free, and then took my USDC and sent it over to Caleb and Brown for 2 cents. It was the easiest experience. Like, working with crypto now is getting so easy. So I can literally just put fiat onto one exchange, get USDC, move the USDC over here, almost basically practically zero charge to transfer it all around, and it only takes minutes. That is the beauty of crypto and blockchain and what you can do. You can move money from here to here to here to here to here in minutes by yourself with almost no charge. It cost me a grand total of about a penny. Maybe 4 cents total because I did 2 different transfers, but that's exactly what we're looking for. Let's see here. Mr. Johnny says, what is your view on the meeting in the White House today with banks and crypto? I believe that they are trying to come to terms on what the stable coin. So I think Coinbase walked away. Banks and crypto companies are fighting about stable coin yields. The administration wants to get the Clarity Act pushed across the finish line. So my guess is Trump or whoever's running the meeting, probably not Trump, but whoever's running the meeting is probably sitting these people down at the table and like, okay, guys, we have to get this through. Who's going to be the most unhappy here? I mean, that's That's what they're doing. They're probably sitting down trying to hash out stablecoin yield, honestly, in my opinion, and how to keep funds in the pockets of the bigwigs versus the retail American people, because they don't care about us. I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't think they care about us. That's why I try to look out for myself in this space. Private credit is in 401ks, pension funds, insurance products, and if the AI pops, how does it hit average person who thinks they are safe in investment? Okay, this is not fear, this is not fear, doom, and gloom, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. If the AI bubble pops, everyone's in trouble. Nothing is safe. Period. To me, the AI bubble is the dot-com bubble of the 2000s because of how many trillions of dollars of market cap are invested in it. So if one leg of that starts to fall, it will create a domino cascading effect that we have not seen in a very long time. Am I predicting that to happen? No, they don't want it to happen. They're probably going to keep pumping debt into it, but it's definitely something I am paying attention to. Again, if you guys are interested in that stuff, I strongly suggest watching Meet Kevin. It's someone I follow for macroeconomic data. He has great insight when it comes to what's happening behind the scenes as far as macroeconomically. I would strongly suggest it. AC said hello today. What's going on, AC? Kenny Stallone says, unfortunately, Caleb and Brown, they don't service New York. Well, the good news is, and I'm going to have Jim on here. Jim is my main contact over there. To talk with you guys for any maybe particular questions you might have about Caleb and Brown, but they do have offices going into the United States as well, because currently they do have an office in the United States already that they just put up, but currently they operate mainly out of Australia because the United States was not crypto friendly for the longest time. Now that the United States is crypto friendly, they're starting to put up offices here in the United States. So that should change for you soon, Kenny, hopefully. And again, that's a better question for Jim when I have him on the channel. When exactly is midterms? I'm from Ireland, so apologies. That's okay. Midterms are going to be in November. So usually our elections take place in the United States in November. Every 2 years, there's either a midterm election or a regular election, right? Regular election is every 4 years. So is that meeting a big nothing burger? I mean, I don't want to say it's a nothing burger because it's important as far as pushing Clarity Act across the finish line and getting everybody agreed on some product of it that they're willing to push forward. But it's not going to increase the price today. If you mean by nothing burger, it's a good step for crypto legislation. And the fact that Ripple is in that meeting when we are XRP holders is always a good thing, but it's not going to pump the price today. They're probably trying to figure out stablecoin yield and how to impact things. Now, Ripple doesn't care about stablecoin yield, so there's more of that conversation happening. But I don't think it's going to have any kind of direct appreciation on price today or tomorrow or even maybe later this week. It doesn't move that fast. Institutional money doesn't run on narratives. It runs on what works. And right now, without clarity, there's just not going to be a ton of money coming into those markets. Resident B says, they say that Bitcoin is digital gold, but now that gold is tokenized, what is the advantage of investing in Bitcoin over gold? Okay, so this has always been my theory on Bitcoin. A lot of people don't like it. Some people do. The definition of value is determined by what someone is willing to pay for it. So as long as there's people willing to pay $75, $77, $80, $100,000 for Bitcoin, it's worth that much. It's that simple. If they tokenize gold, which they are tokenizing gold, I saw they're working on that in consortium with Chainlink, another one of our infrastructure plays. Tokenized gold is going to start coming on Ledger. I've never believed in Bitcoin. I've always been wishy-washy with Bitcoin. I didn't see a full purpose of it. I really didn't. I thought it's like a digital rock. You know, we can't use it to really transact. And a lot of Bitcoin maxis are going to hate that, but it's a store of value. And when we get to the point where gold collapses, silver collapses, and money is hurting, there will be a cascade effect in Bitcoin because it doesn't serve any real utility purpose other than a store of value like gold or silver. So if people decide they don't want to value Bitcoin anymore, Bitcoin will go away. Now, to be fair, there is a lot of money invested in Bitcoin from major players. They're not going to let it go to zero like that. And if they do, they're going to get theirs first. The people who pay for it will be retail. It will be a bloodbath if something like that happened. My opinion, not financial advice, but that's what I believe in it. Let's see. So we are up, sitting at $1.63 right now. It's trying to pull back. Again, we had our manipulation candle, ran up to 78,000, immediately pulled back. And I think it's going to continue to go down if it doesn't happen to get above EMA 9. It's trying to right now. We've had some good volume. This is Bitcoin, by the way. We've had some good volume. So again, we'll see. It's chopping right now, but the fact that it didn't get past 80,000 on this push is not a good sign for the overall market. And again, silver and gold have pulled back this morning as well. I said that I was really concerned about how things ended on Friday with this massive pullback. And then in the middle of this massive pullback, we went to the weekend, right? So, I mean, it's okay. We'll be here for the long view. Let's hop back into the chat, see what everyone's got to say. Let's keep the chat going. We're just here kind of watching how this plays out. Right now, again, gold and silver, massive correction on Friday, massive pullback. Silver should not be moving like a meme coin, ladies and gentlemen. Should not have 80% runs in silver. Of course, the big wigs, not going to say names. JP Morgan. Oh, God, excuse me. Of course, the big wigs are going to short it at the top and get out at the exact bottom like they know something's going on, right? That's why we try to watch and put ourselves in position. We are here for the long view, not for the day-to-day price changes or pump and dump schemes, but to position yourself to be in the best possible spot 10 years in the future. That is my goal for you. Thanks. That is what I was asking. Perfect. Mr. Johnny says, do you think it could go to 80 cents? Depends on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin collapses down to 55,000, if we can't hold $1.20, then yeah, 80 cents is a possibility. It's a great buying opportunity. I don't want that for anyone because I know a lot of people bought at the top and a lot of people are losing money right now, but I'm not going to lie to people either. Okay. I'm here to give you a realistic view. And right now people are losing money and it sucks. And if people want hopium, they want someone tell them that XRP is about to go to $1,000 or $100, in the next month, and that the reverse carry trade is about to pop off, and there's a private number in the background that XRP is going to go to, and every other narrative you can possibly imagine. You've been around YouTube long enough to know it hasn't unfolded. Those narratives promise you dopamine, and they give you dopamine until the last domino falls and nothing happens, and then you're left depressed and broke. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for any of you. Bitcoin is overvalued with no real world utility. I tend to agree with you, Jen Zach. Again, not financial advice. Alpha says the only reason Bitcoin is surviving is because too much money is involved in it. That's all. Again, it's worth what people value it to be. Value is determined by what someone is willing to pay for it. That's it. That is the truth about value. If you want proof of that, look at toilet paper during COVID. Right? Look at toilet paper during COVID. Value is determined by what someone is willing to pay for it. Scarcity creates value. Mr. Johnny says, if Tether fails, Bitcoin fails, and e-files show Tether is a massive scam. Well, we've known that for a long time. We've known, but see, they gave Tether time to launch their US-backed stable coin that's now compliant with the Genius Act. I'm not saying that's going to save Tether if more information comes out, but it's kind of ironic how they got that off the ground first, right? I think we dropping for a few weeks, says Raul. That's possible. Very, very possible. I hope not. Because I don't want anyone to lose money. But we are looking at theater over the next probably couple weeks as we see how this whole thing really shakes out. Again, you can follow me on X at Longview Crypto. And honestly, I post everything. I put I mean, everything I look at, I pretty much retweet that I find interesting. And again, I'll retweet the stuff from the e-files. I'll retweet the stuff with silver, gold, Canton Network, you know, any major news going on with Bloomberg and the e-files. I put all of that information out. RippleNet takes on Swift messaging system live in Singapore. I don't know how old this is. But I put everything out there for you guys, and it's gonna, I mean, it's gonna pump and dump. We're here for the long view, not for what's gonna happen over the next week or so, but I'll try to explain it to you the best we can as we go through it. Right now, again, we are looking at how things are gonna be playing out over, I don't know, the next, oh, again, here you go. Caleb and Brown now runs on the XRP ledger, goes live with Ripple payments, enabling faster fiat on-off ramps for customers. They're still working on the fiat part, I'll be honest, but you can transfer your USDC very, very quick. What did Jerome Powell have to say, according to Paul Barron? I didn't catch this one.
Political risk for us is, a lot of it is around energy, oil. And so far we haven't, you know, for all the turmoil, oil prices have come down, as you know, and so we don't really see much. You know, longer than that, it's trade, and, you know, the trade, the economy, our economy has pulled through pretty well, you'd have to say, given the very significant changes in trade policy. You know.
Well, according to Powell, our economy has pulled through really, really well, given all the changes in geopolitical tensions and trade policy. And he's been trying to worry about it. You should have cut the damn rates, man. We'd be in a much better position by now. But I'm not mad at it, because I literally just sold my house, and then I found out the housing market went down like 10% in my area. Literally, they announced it the day after I sold my house. So I am not mad at it. Let me take a look here. I wanted to do something fun for y'all real quick. Let me get out of this screen here. I always like finding fun videos, but I am here for the long view. I am about XRP. I am about Canton Network, my big two for sure. And then Ondo is my third. And then my fourth and fifth pillar are Chainlink and HBAR. But I have a crush on Canton Network right now, as most of you know. Let's see here. Give me a moment. Almost there. I got way too many bookmarks. I need to clean up my bookmarks so I can go through this crap faster when I want to find something. Just way too many bookmarks.
Show me the money! Show me the money! Show me the money!
I love that Monica Long's in this.
Show me the money! You my motherfucker!
There he is right there.
Show me the money!
All right, now that we broke it up a little bit, let's get back into the chat, see what everyone's saying. Keep the chat going, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. And remember, memberships are open and available as well for anyone new coming in. You will get that weekly member live stream every single Wednesday evening. And let's see what's going on in the chat now. Let me pull up that screen. We can get talking again. Are you still planning to get some BTC back in your portfolio? Yes, I am. I'm waiting to see how this all shakes out. I'll probably pick up some more BTC if it gets down to like the 58,000 area. If it gets around 55, it's kind of hard not to pick it up at this point. Willing buyer, willing seller determine value. Exactly. You know, prime example. I have an $11,000 Harley Davidson sitting in my garage that I cannot sell for the life of me because people only want to give me $7,000 or $6,000 for it right now. I mean, I'm not going to offload it for that price. I have a Harley Davidson Street Glide that's gorgeous. It's the last year they did the Sonoma orange paint before the tsunami happened, so they can't get the paint anymore. Very rare, very clean bike, and just there's no market for it right now. Again, value is determined by what someone is willing to pay for it, unfortunately. And I value it too much to sell it for $7,000. Clarity Act good for XRP. Meeting this morning at the White House. This is not a Clarity Act meeting this morning. This is a meeting between the White House, the banks, and between certain crypto companies. Yes, they're trying to figure out the banking portion of it. Mainly, this is probably about stablecoin yield, truthfully. We don't know what's taking place in the meeting. But yeah, the Clarity Act's good for XRP. Clarity is excellent for XRP. As soon as we get clarity, again, the Clarity Act is key because we need everything signed into law. Right now, everything that's been done, the new Fed chair, the new CFTC head, the new SEC head, like all of that stuff, all this pro-crypto legislation we have, except for the Genius Act, everything that's been done right now can be undone with a new administration. So we need clarity to sign this stuff into law so these major institutions feel comfortable bringing trillions and trillions of dollars on blockchain and on Ledger, because they're not going to do it if there's a chance it's going to go away. Why would you invest that much money? Now, at this point, the writing's pretty much on the wall. We can see the investments by big money from BlackRock, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, like these kinds of things into these companies. Digital asset, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We see these kinds of investments into these kind of companies. It's a pretty clear story of where the money is going and what the future is. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This information is for entertainment and educational purposes only. You should always do your own research and speak to a financial advisor. But I mean, clarity is good for all crypto. Just in the sense to make sure we are secured here and it doesn't change with the new administration. Again, CFTC and the SEC are on board. They're already pushing things through, and they said they'll adjust when they're basically setting policy before policy is made. And they say, oh, we'll adjust it once we get the Clarity Act if we need to. So they're moving forward with it. The house market get hit. They're trying to hide it. The house market is getting hit, and that is a big part of the private credit, which is exactly why I plan to sell my house at this time. This was a thought out plan for me. I was waiting for interest rates to start to come down, which bumped up the price a little bit, and then boom, the housing market's about to take a large dump right now. Alpha, yes, I agree. What is Canton Network's use case? So Canton Network was designed for specifically institutional use. Canton Network is for repo, back-end settlement. This is where the DTCC is tokenizing securities on, right? Again, digital asset. The company that created Canton Network has private backing from companies like Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, BlackRock, Citi. Again, I have the whole list, New York Stock Exchange, and more. I have the whole video on my channel. It's literally 6 minutes. If you're interested in Canton, you should definitely watch it. But again, do your own research. I am not a financial advisor, but it is something I am passionate about. Oh, and actually, as we're talking about Canton Network, let me see if I can find it. I had a recent bookmark. Hopefully, I should be able to find it relatively quickly. Yeah, right here. Let me pull this up. So when we're talking about Canton Network, again, and I talk about the major amount of backing and the people that are in it. I can't make this stuff up, guys.
Crypto community does not know much about Canton, and I guess this is one of the things we're trying to accomplish is to, raise the visibility of what you're trying to do. But it also means that I don't know a lot of the details about Canton either. So I'm happy that we're doing this. I guess DTCC just chose Canton to tokenize a subset of U.S. treasuries held at DTC.
This is 6 minutes.
That
watch the whole thing.
We always look in the early days of an emerging technology or network, who's signing on. It seems to me that was a huge seal of approval. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that because people in the TradFi world know DTCC, but maybe not in the crypto world. And we're trying to help everyone understand what's going on here.
Yeah, so DTCC is the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, and they hold about $100 trillion of assets. And
$100 trillion of assets being
so
tokenized.
It's treasuries, corporate bonds, municipal bonds, and most importantly, equities. And so what they announced this week is that they are going to tokenize some of the treasuries, basically the most liquid treasuries on Canton. And the way that will work is if somebody who owns a treasury asks the DTCC to, rather than track the ownership of that treasury in their database, to use the Canton network to track the ownership of that treasury, then they move it over. So that's a really big deal.
Really big deal.
And they also
just the beginning
in the release kind of telegraphed their intention to move on with the with the other assets as well. So it's a really big deal.
So they're moving on with the rest of the assets. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Maybe I just don't understand DTCC enough. Why would it do this? Usually an entity that has control over a network, it doesn't really want to hand it off. Is this, maybe you can describe why this is happening?
So let me describe a little bit more about the function of the DTCC. So, and I think we should talk about it with regard to equities, because that's a really important ecosystem, and obviously there's a lot of focus on tokenizing it.
I'm just pausing it real quick. This is great information because a lot of people don't understand what's happening on the back end of the stock market. When we're talking about tokenized treasuries coming on blockchain and what it means for XRPL, what it means for Ethereum, what it means for Canton Network, I know it's boring, okay? And I'm trying to hop in there and keep it entertaining. Ask your questions as we go through it. Keep the stream pumping, right? The more you guys engage in the chat, the more you guys engage in stream, the more this information gets out to people. And I know this information is boring, but this is what's going to cause appreciation in crypto. When you got Kathy Wood from ARK Invest over here saying she doesn't understand how this is going to work, talking about Canton Network and the DTCC tokenizing trillions on the Canton Network, we have to pay attention. A little boring. We got a few more minutes. Let's go.
Equities. So, in the early days of equities, there were share certificates, and companies would issue share certificates. People would hold their share certificates.
Remember.
And buying or selling the share certificates or borrowing against them was quite cumbersome. And the DTCC became a mechanism to transition those share certificates into onto a database so that they could be more easily bought and sold. And I should mention that there's actually another type of entity in the mix, which is a transfer agent that often sits, between the companies and the DTCC. So if a new company goes public, they have to select a transfer agent, and people who want to hold their securities in street name, in other words, be able to borrow against them or readily sell them in a brokerage account. They instruct the transfer agent to move those shares to the DTCC, but some people, maybe the founders who don't want to. Who have no plans to sell their shares and want to make sure that they don't get lent out, may just keep their shares at the transfer agent. So the DTCC becomes the place for shares that are able to be bought and sold readily or borrowed against. They're tracked by DTCC's database.
So they're starting with a subset of U.S. Treasuries. As you say, equities is very important. What will be changing for market participants on day one? And I guess looking out there over the next year, what are your expectations in terms of, assets moving onto the Canton network? How quickly could this happen, I guess, is the
first thing that will take place is treasuries. And so, we've done some kind of preliminary trades with treasuries, where there's a nice Bloomberg article a few months ago that kind of describes how we took a treasury that we owned, and we asked DTC to put it onto Canton on a Saturday morning. We lent it to another counterparty. We got USDC in return. And then on Saturday afternoon, we unwound the trade. And there were a bunch of prime brokers and involved in the sequence of transactions. And what that does is it just unlocks the ability to transform a very liquid collateral into cash during non-banking hours. And of course, that's a big deal for crypto markets, which are 24/7. But now I think most markets are going to go to either 24/7 or 24/5, and so
to token.
So most markets are going to go to 24/7 or 24/5. This is just the beginning, talking about they're starting with treasuries, but next is going to be equities and securities. Now, I've seen the questions pop up about the DTCC and the XRP. A lot of you guys are curious. Let's hop into that real quick. So hello, is everyone, let me get the right screen here. Hello, everyone. Is Bitcoin going to have a future? With the amount of money that's in Bitcoin, I don't see it going away anytime soon. BlackRock, JP Morgan, too many major institutions have a lot of money in Bitcoin, and that I just don't see it failing completely. I follow the money, right? Will we see a BlackRock ETF before the Clarity Act? Right. The last thing I heard was that BlackRock might do an ETF at the end of 26, beginning of 27. What I am really looking out for, because again, BlackRock has some investment in Digital Asset, who's the company behind Canton Network. What I'm looking for is to see if they do a Canton Network ETF before XRP. I'm keeping a close eye on BlackRock and Canton Network. And I think something's up there. I thought it was documented that DTCC would use XRPL. So it is documented that the DTCC will use the XRPL for onboarding and offboarding with RLUSD, but they're not tokenizing directly on the XRPL. They are working with the XRPL. So if we were watching that video, they were talking about having prime brokerage options and liquidity options as far as moving. There's several moving pieces to this. So the more interoperability these chains have to work together, again, XRP and XRP Ledger is designed for liquidity. Now, granted, tokenization is going to come onto the stock market, but XRP is meant to be a bridge for liquidity. That is the definition of it. Now, granted, we have other things we're going to be doing as far as on-chain lending, yield, staking, things like that. But again, the XRP Ledger and the XRP is for liquidity. It is a liquidity bridge, and the more value that comes on the blockchain that is interoperable with XRP means more things it can provide liquidity for. So the more interoperable XRPL is with Canton Network, in my opinion, the better. Again, we've been talking about NDAs. Remember, BlackRock's been involved with this for a while now. Not financial advice, speculation. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's something for XRP Ledger and Canton Network to work together, as far as Canton Network being because Larry Fink has talked about wanting to have everything on one chain for seamless, right? For seamless trading. So if they put all the tokenization and all the settlement and all that stuff on Canton Network, and then they were to use like XRP Ledger for the settlement area and the liquidity area of moving that money around the world, that makes sense to me. Again, not financial advice, but I could definitely see how these two things work hand in hand. Liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. And the money and the big names are all about Canton Network. I mean, it just cracked the top 20 in market cap with this crash, right? It went from 21 to 15 in a matter of a day because it went up while everything else was going down. So again, not financial advice, but it's something that I'm high on right now. I would say it's 50-50 with XRP for me. And again, I also have Ondo, Chainlink, and HBAR. Anything that can be tokenized will be in the Clarity Act. Agree. Well, we hope Hopefully they get the Clarity Act done and caught up and making sense by the end of the year before midterms, because again, if it moves beyond midterms, there's a very realistic possibility that it doesn't get done, or if it does, it's going to have a lot more favorable terms for banks, right? Which we don't want, because favorable terms for banks means less favorable terms for us, and that is no bueno. We do not want that. Let's see. Let's get back into the price, see what's happening. I appreciate everyone for taking your time to be here. Make sure you engage in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button, share it far and wide. Let's try to grow the stream out today. Again, non-hype content 6 days a week, covering the real information just for you. Let me get to my right screen here so I'm looking at the right stuff. I don't want to do this here. There we go. All right. So let's find the correct screen. There we go. Now I'm on the correct. So silver is still struggling. It's at $77, better than the $70 it got to last night. But it is on the downturn at $77. Let's see what Bitcoin is doing now. Bitcoin's up to 78,000. Will it maintain? Again, I need to see it get over 80,000 before I believe in it. We'll see how the rest of this week plays out with the liquidity and the aftermath. But again, we got up to the overbought area and it started cooling down without pushing through to a higher high. Again, right here was the higher high. So if it falls back below EMA9, it could pull all the way back down. XRP sitting at $1.63 right now. Ondo sitting at 28 cents. I have my buy order in here for Ondo at 26 cents roughly. And then H-bar right here. H-bar at up to 94 cents. H-bar is running really good today. I have my buy order in for H-bar down here at 84 cents. So H-bar is getting a nice recovery going, but it's overbought right now as well. And then, of course, we follow the entire crypto market every single day. But those are my 5 pillars. And then, of course, Canton Network, which is it over here? Did I pull it up over here? I can't remember. Did I pull my Caleb and Brown? Oh, yeah, I did pull my portfolio. Canton Network is the other one that I hold as well. Currently up 1.95% for me as of right now today. But this is just what I bought over the weekend. I need to send it off of Caleb and Brown. Again, Caleb and Brown is available to you for institutional custody as well. Link for you in the description. You can purchase Canton there as well as 250 other tokens. Very high white glove treatment. The minimum purchases, though, I will tell you, minimum purchase is $500 per investment. So it's not designed for your $20 purchase, your $100 purchase, things like that. And again, if you're comfortable with using exchanges, more power to you. This is just for the people who might want a little bit of a more white glove treatment, less direct involvement in their crypto investing. It just, easy and seamless for people. Back to the chat. Keep the chat rolling, guys. I appreciate. Oh, I'm caught up with the chat. Okay, well, I need you guys to keep chat rolling so we can keep this thing running. Let's hop back into price here. So Canton Network we've been talking about at length. Again, you can follow me on X at Longview Crypto. I just showed you guys that. Okay, here we go. Chainlink at 35 trillion. Gold is the largest physical store of value on Earth, yet most of it is economically idle. Tokenization changes this, but only if the asset is powered by reliable data, interop compliance, and privacy. That's exactly what the Chainlink platform delivers. Gold metadata. So Chainlink is hinting that they are looking at starting to tokenize gold. Now, again, that's a matter of time before that actually happens. Let me get out of this post here. Canton Foundation. Cracking the top 20 is a reminder that utility compounds and networks that settle real activity tend to outlast the noise. Utility over noise. That's what we've been talking about ad nauseum. I've been retweeting what I've seen with the dirty e-files that have been coming out, as well as what's happening in silver, what's happening with Canton, what's happening with Ripple, what's happening with Ondo, HBAR, and Chainlink. We do have the Ondo Summit coming up on February 3rd, as well as the Ripple, the Ripple Community Day, The Ripple Community Day coming up on February 11th. Will there be major announcements? I tend to think there will. Ondo's been flirting around a lot of information out there on as far as what's going to be happening at their summit. So we're bouncing back up against the 165 support. Will it push through? Will it not? Let me know in chat. What are you guys looking forward to? What are the cryptos that you are holding? Again, my big three, big five, but my big three. My big three are XRP, Canton Network, and Ondo, as well as my others are HBAR and Chainlink. And I have some dart throws out there. But what are you guys most excited about in your crypto portfolio, and why? Is it just for potential appreciation? Is there a utility? Like, what project are you excited about and why? I want to know what you guys are interested in and what the reason for it is. I'm going to ask for reasons behind the backing, right? Again, XRP ledger activity is spiking. Will it continue? We have 3 straight days of over 1.5 million, with one spike close to 2 million, with the account set activity still pegged at an all-time high for the history of the ledger. Will this continue? Again, we were just talking about utility with the Canton Network and how it's impacting price of Canton over the last several months, right? Canton on an unbelievable run, outpacing the market, now cracking the top 20, ranked at number 16 in market cap. Remember, a month ago, it was like at 50, okay? When we first started talking about what's actually happening with the Canton Network, it was closer to 50 in market cap, and now it's all the way up to 16. That's an incredible run in a month. But we've had lots of pullbacks in crypto. While everything else is going down, it has either increased or maintained. It's pretty easy to make up ground when the market's tanking and you're not falling. Let's see. Back to the chat. Keep the chat going. I appreciate every single one of you. Any asset with Ripple XRP news would skyrocket in price. The reason for XRP's crap price is simply market cap. All the YouTube XRP bros dismiss it, yet we are in free fall. Market cap is, okay. Market cap is a thing, but market cap is determined by what's actually floating around out there. The big confusion with XRP and market cap was that no one knew what was actually floating around out there. There was all this speculation about what's on exchanges, what's actually being held, what's liquid. Are the Ripple CEOs dumping, it on people? Like, all these narratives. So people were trying to figure out what really is floating out there as far as XRP. Because of the different dynamics, it makes it confusing, which allows people to create narratives. And that's why every single time I would come on here and I would create my math models and things like that, I would say this is based on 20 billion XRP, or this is based on this amount of billion XRP, and I show where I get the number from. But a lot of those cases were because people were trying to avoid market cap, stating that the market cap doesn't really affect XRP because only certain amounts of XRP are available, and it needs to have a dedicated price. It's designed to work at a higher price. There's so many narratives that got floated around about XRP, and that's why I try to really zoom it out and look at it from a long view perspective. And when I do pull those data, I try to give multiple different ideas: base case, bear case, bull case, so we can get an idea of what's really a possibility for all the scenarios, not just hype and hopium. My opinion, not financial advice. Jinsack, XRP is the only crypto that has been tested and sued and won. No other crypto can say that. Well, that is true, but just following from what we've seen about the Dirty E files, a lot of that lawsuit seems to be specifically designed to suppress XRP, which is something that has been rumored for a long time. Those files are definitely not helping squash that narrative. Stephen Haynes says CC because of who has invested, also not controlled by Bitcoin. Yeah, the fact that it's decoupled and not moving with Bitcoin makes me feel really good about it. And yeah, it does have some major institutional backing, already has major partnerships. Think about it. If Ethereum, like if it got announced that XRPL or Ethereum had these trillions of dollars at the DTCC, they'd have been through the roof already a long time ago. But because no one knows what Canton Network is, it just went under the radar. I'm so glad I was able to mention it to you and that there are people here listening. I have a feeling as we talk about, like, I really do have a strong feeling over the next 5 years, Canton Network is going to be a major winner again because of tokenization and so much stuff coming on Ledger. And we're already seeing ARK Invest talk about it. We're already seeing major companies getting involved with it. I'm being careful with how I say things because I don't want to put out false information, but I did see it, that BlackRock was invested on Yahoo Finance. They were invested in digital asset according to Yahoo Finance. But so there's some serious money behind Canton Network, and I think in the next 5 years it might shoot up to be a top 5, top 4 crypto, if not higher possibly, and people are going to wonder where it's came from, and we'll be talking about it here on the channel the entire 5 years as it rolls out. We've been talking about for the last month, and those of you who got into it at the beginning of the month, again, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but for those of you who got into Canton Network at the beginning of January, have done very well for yourselves to this point, because I know I have. Not financial advice. But that is all of the info. How are we doing? With 36 people in the stream, we're going winding down here. We've been going over an hour. The popcorn, I know I'm disappointed. I was expecting more popcorn today in the market. We did have a giant manipulation candle, but it's still trying to figure out. I mean, we haven't popped back through the $1.65 level. I'm down to have a chat and a hangout with you guys. It's 9:45. I could do another stream at noon and check back in as well. I just need to post a couple of shorts. I did have a really good short. If you guys didn't check it out, I'm sure most of you had. My most successful video today, I did a short that's over 70,000 views now, which is amazing. It was my best performing short of this up to this point. So hopefully that gets some more new faces in here. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe, smash the like button, sign off in the chat. Let me know you're here. What brought you here? Was it the gold and silver crash video that a lot of you saw? Because I know I got like 150 subscribers from that one video. If you guys are popping into the live stream, sign off. Let me know. Again, memberships are available if you want to do the weekly member live stream as well as a weekly newsletter that will be coming out soon, as well as I do have a merch store available if you want to get some long view compute gear. I already ordered some for myself, so hopefully it shows up soon. And yeah, man, super chats, all the stuff is available. Caleb and Brown is available. I got cold wallets available for you in the description. If you guys have questions, thoughts, concerns, anything, let me know. I'm trying to build out the members only live stream. I'd like to see more than 3 people in it this week. But in the meantime, I will catch you guys later. I might be back on at noon today. I have a couple shorts I'm about to put out. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. Again, going to be doing tomorrow at 8:30. We have 5 members now, Sir Charles. 5 members. 5 founding members. Remember, the first 100 members will be founding members. Anything that gets added in the future will be included in your initial membership price. I will not ask you to pay a higher price in the future. That is my personal thank you to every single one of you who have supported the channel to this point. Now, I will see you guys either at noon today or tomorrow morning at 8:30. I will be streaming tomorrow at 8:30 as well, because I think this is going to take a couple days to see how this truly shakes out, and I'm trying to position back in. Again, I'm trying to get my buy orders in at the prices. Canton, I'm not trying to time buy orders. I just buy it when I can. As a matter of fact, while I'm looking at this, I should probably, hang on, let me see here. We can do this. You guys want to see me buy some stuff? I'll show you how Caleb and Brown works, because I'm thinking about buying some more Canton Network here. Let me take a look at my shorts and see what I can close them out as. Ooh, boy. They're up to $500 a piece. So I can buy $1,000 worth of Canton now. So here you go. What do you guys think? Not financial advice. So I have 2 puts on XRP that I bought at $2.05 when XRP was at $2.05. So the puts I bought have now doubled in price, just about. Roughly about 80% increase, worth $500 a piece. Should I sell them and flip them to Canton Network, or should I sell them and flip them to XXRP longs, or should I hold them? What do you guys think? I have my buy order in at 150. I think we're gonna go lower, and because you know what? I think, again, not financial advice. I think if we push back and reclaim 165, I'll sell them. To me, that means we've reset this support. If we can't get past 165, I'm gonna hang on to them and I'll sell them at 150, and then I'm gonna switch and put all of that money in the Canton network. Those two puts I have puts for $11 and 60 some odd cents on XXRP. So that's that'll be a nice little chunk to switch into Canton there. Again, waiting to see if we are going to push beyond 165. Trying to time my exit, if you will, on the XXRP puts. So I'll see you guys. No one wants to answer. That's fine. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Oh, there's chats. I didn't even see there were chats. Hang on, let me get back to that. I can't leave people not answered. What wallet supports Canton? Well, as far as a wallet goes, I'm not 100% sure, to tell you the truth. I will tell you, let me pull up the screen for you. If you have a question, I use Crypto Bubbles. Crypto Bubbles is very useful. But if you ever are curious where to find something, you can go on Crypto Bubbles and just click the bubble. And go up to trade. It tells you all the different exchanges and stuff you can get it from. I don't think you can buy it on a wallet, because I'm pretty sure the only way to get it is to it more is minted when it's burned. You have to actually be working on the Canton network to get it, or you have to purchase it from somewhere else. So I don't know how to answer your question as far as exactly what chain you can get it on, but it is available on all of these different exchanges for you, as well as Caleb and Brown. Let's see. Where did my chat box go? There it is. You're welcome, Kenny. You're welcome, sir. Appreciate you as well. I'll see you later, Jen Zach. Again, I will be back on around maybe noon today, depending on what happens with the market, but I'll be back on at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow to stream and see how the dust settles. We are up to 5 channel members now. Again, memberships are available. They are $7.99, and they get you the members only live stream, as well as soon to come a weekly newsletter and anything else that gets announced in the future. You're very welcome, Alcoholic Click. I appreciate you. You have a good day. I'll see you guys